Guild Wars 2 is constantly evolving expansion over expansion, from the introduction of gliding and elite specializations in Heart of Thorns to the introduction of homesteading in Janthier Wilds. Each expansion introduces major new features to the game that expand the game in interesting ways. And a lot of people seem to think we are pretty much at a cap for what features can be added to Guild Wars 2, but maybe we are not. So I want to go over my personal top 10 future expansion features that could be added in Guild Wars 2. I want to clarify that I am not necessarily saying any of these things should be added to Guild Wars 2, they're just possible features we could potentially see in the future, and I personally would like them to varying degrees. So let's get started. In the number 10 spot is a hero or companion system. Now this is a super interesting one because I don't necessarily want this as specifically an expansion feature. Guild Wars 2 is a massive game with so much content that has been added to it over the years, but it is unfortunately a game that is not going to be as active as it currently is forever. One day, ArenaNet will transition to a future Guild Wars 3 or another title as their main title as gaming and their studio evolves, leaving Guild Wars 2 to still be around but less played and not as supported. To that end, reevaluating the entire world, instanced pieces of content, and basically every piece of content in the game is going to be important. A decade after Guild Wars 2's final update, there will still be many people playing the game, but it will be just a sliver of the population we see today. So what do we do? Well, one is the reevaluation. Looking at scaling and the amount of players you need for meta events will be important. For example, you can make it so you only need like 10 players to complete Dragon Stand, but a bigger feature could be the introduction of heroes like we see in the original Guild Wars. Now when it comes to Guild Wars, that game is significantly more simple and straightforward in level design, character design, and combat design compared to Guild Wars 2. As such, a hero system in Guild Wars 2 would take significantly more effort to accomplish than it would in Guild Wars. But this would be a great opportunity to allow players in the far future to be able to complete different pieces of content. We could see a type of system similar to follower dungeons in World of Warcraft, where players can complete raids with heroes who are programmed to do specific roles. Or we could see a broader category of just basic NPCs who will follow you around the world. Additionally, this could allow a level of customization and gold sinks where you can create builds for the hero, what they look like, and what gear they are wearing. Or we could recruit prominent NPCs from around Tyria. With whatever we see, I would only want to see it after the final expansion for Guild Wars 2 and some sort of last major update to the game designed to transition Guild Wars 2 to being in maintenance mode. In the number 9 spot is a looking forward tool. This is kind of a scary idea to implement into Guild Wars 2, but it could be done well. At the bare minimum, seeing the looking for group bulletin board tool already present in the game be overhauled and streamlined would be fantastic. Doing that to some other stuff like the achievements page would also be nice. And this is an idea I have talked about on my channel before, where we could see an auto group making function added for pieces of 5-player content that aren't played often, specifically dungeons, tier 1 and 2 fractals, and dragon response missions. I think these pieces of content in particular would be nice because they are less active than other pieces of content, are often what a lot of newer players want to engage with, and are also much easier. You don't need to have 2 boon supports and a healer in your party composition to clear this content, so just tossing 5 random players in together won't matter as much. We could also see some sort of mentor selection that allows an experienced player to mark themselves as experienced so they can take the opportunity to lead and teach others. Alongside all of that, another idea I had more recently was the idea of a random meta event finder tool. With this, we could also see a selection to queue for a random meta event or world boss that would teleport you to an active or soon to be active meta that you are able to participate in, and this could autofill a map of like-minded individuals who want to do that meta. And the number 8 spot is Mastery Evolutions. This is a simple and straightforward idea which has been a prominent part of the last 2 Guild Wars 2 expansions. Back in Living World Season 4, we saw the introduction of the Sky Scale, and with the Secrets of the Obscure expansion, we saw that feature in the Sky Scale taken and expanded upon to be a major part of that expansion. Then during the Path of Fire expansion, we saw the introduction of the Warclaw for World vs. World, and then with Janthier Wilds, we saw that feature in the Warclaw taken and massively expanded upon to be a major feature in this expansion. And I would guess we will continue the trend. Now we could honestly take any single mastery in the game and expand upon it if we are creative enough. Name a mastery track down in the comments and I could come up with something. Whether or not it would be good is another discussion. The most likely candidate would be with expanding a mount. The first one that comes to mind is the Springer. Coming up with a unique way to evolve the Springer would be good to bring some life to this adorable creature. since it is pretty much outclassed by the Sky Scale in every way. The Jackal could also be a good one because you can just add some random magic type interactions with it, which could really be anything. In the number 7 spot is new PvP game types. This is just a general idea that could go any number of different ways. We currently see the push PvP game mode that is currently in development and will likely make its way into the game proper, but there's always the possibility for a bunch of other types of things. In particular, I would love to see a structured PvP game mode that includes more than 5 players on a team. I would love some sort of 50 versus 50 player game mode that is like a super structured version of World vs. World where you're just team fighting each other while trying to push into the enemy's base. Realistically, we would likely see something that is more in the realm of 10 versus 10, like Conquest with 5 control points, or Capture the Flag, or so many other concepts. Alongside that, there is the possibility for PvP game modes that aren't specifically players fighting each other like in PvP or WVW. We see this with the activity system, and we could see something like Basket Brawl return. The game mode that a lot of people would love to see added to the game would be Polymach, Guild Wars' take on monster collecting and turn-based fighting. While the pessimist in me says that we won't see this in Guild Wars, there were a lot of hints to it at launch, and we recently saw a little bit of a tease to it with the Mistborn Barons, so maybe we'll see it in a future expansion. In the number 6 spot is boating. Okay, I admit, this is a stupid idea, but it's just a fun concept to think about. We have skiffs in the game, which are rideable boats that I do enjoy riding around maps on, especially when I'm fishing, but having some sort of system where you can sail larger vessels would be cool in theory, even though it wouldn't be in practice. Everyone has nostalgia for the boats from Assassin's Creed 3 and 4, plus a lot of people enjoy games like Sea of Thieves, which has most of the game revolve around sailing boats and fighting players. Having full-fledged naval battles in Guild Wars 2 could be cool, PvP or PvE. Maybe something like an absolutely massive map that is based on the Unending Ocean, which just has a bunch of tiny islands that you could sail to in order to plunder, with some sort of enemy faction patrolling the waters. Or a more simple approach would be a boat type of base that goes in circles around a map, similar to the airship in Dragonfall, that you can customize similar to your Homestead or Arborstone. But with whatever approach you can come up with, Guild Wars 2 has a ton of naval themes with Lion's Arch, the entirety of the Sea of Sorrows, and factions like the Corsairs and various other pirates. There's a lot of lore and story that could be taken into a system like this. In the number 5 spot are Caravans. Let me explain, and I will say this is a really random idea that will most definitely not come to Guild Wars 2. The idea here is we have the entire world of Tyria that is ultimately interconnected, and we could have certain caravans that travel around the world and set up their shop to sell to players, and we could see a variation of the trading post that incorporates the systems you see with the gold to gem exchange, similar to what we see with some vendors in the original Guild Wars. Take Mithril Ore for example, it has a set price, which is similar to the trading post, but depending on the supply and demand of Mithril Ore, the price will rise or fall. Now this system is definitely unnecessary and could probably be easily abused, but it is fun to think about. A more interesting idea related to this could be a caravan that sells extremely rare items for a lot of money. Think the black market auction house from World of Warcraft. This could allow players to buy account-bound versions of incredibly rare items, while also throwing the opportunity for ArenaNet to establish maximum prices for some items, since some items are worth more than the maximum amount of gold that you can exchange on the trading post. Take the Ghastly Grinning Shield. This is an item that is hard to come by, and maybe a caravan could occasionally sell one for 500 gold, or maybe the caravan very rarely sells the Chalk Egg Sack for 8,500 gold. Some people would argue that this would ruin the economy, while others would argue that this would help the economy. It just depends on your perspective. In the number 4 spot is kind of a similar idea, and it is direct player trading. There isn't too much to say here, but implementing a system that allows you to directly trade items to other players would probably be nice. When it comes to playing with friends, it would be nice to exchange items with someone right in front of you without having to use the mail system, or this could be a good way to allow players to trade items with each other outside of the trading post. Now a lot of people would say that this is bad because it could lead to players being scammed, or that we already have the mail system and trading post in the game, which there isn't really too much preventing someone from being scammed through trading via the mail already. Additionally, the trading post has the gold cap of 10,000 gold, so when players want to sell an item for more than that, they already have to do it through the mail, which is incredibly easy to be scammed through, so a lot of players use a third-party Discord, and this basically eliminates the need for that. Plus, this allows players to directly trade items for items. Instead of selling mystic coins to get gold and spending that gold for globs of ectoplasm, you could trade mystic coins with someone for globs of ectoplasm straight up. And the number 3 spot is reputations. The next 3 spots are definitely features I personally would love to see added to the game, and different people will have different opinions. We already see some systems similar to this in the game, and they have been expanded upon with each expansion. The most recent iteration is with the Renown Mastery in Janthier Wilds that changes task areas slightly as you complete more and more tasks and give you some rewards. But a particular system could be taking every single faction in the game and connecting them with different pieces of content, where killing related monsters could give a little progress towards a maximum reputation bar, while doing stuff like completing tasks or raids would give more. And as you gain more and more reputation, dialogue with different NPCs can change. You could unlock new areas, and you can unlock new rewards. The main type of rewards would be cosmetic, where you can gain stuff like minis, armor, and weapons that are themed around the specific faction. Maybe we could even see a mount skin themed around each faction that an account can obtain upon reaching the maximum faction level. Ultimately, this is just another system that can add some bloat to the game while pumping in more rewards for players to collect, but I personally would have a fantastic time. In the number 2 spot is a jumping puzzle league. This is definitely something that will only benefit a few players, and I am generally thinking of 2 primary ideas here. First, implementing adventures into pre-existing jumping puzzles. I'm specifically thinking of jumping puzzles located in Corteria that were added with the original release of the game, and maybe we can expand it to ones from Living Road Seasons 1 and 2, where we can have an adventure that completely eliminates any use of mounts, gliding, or portals, but has you go through a jumping puzzle. This could be a way to spice up older jumping puzzles, add some more rewards to them, and also add leaderboards to them that some people may enjoy. On top of all that, the second primary idea is to introduce a new currency that you can earn from completing jumping puzzles, and this currency could be expanded to come from any jumping puzzle from any point in the game. Think of a currency similar to the racing medallions from roller beetle races that allow you to buy a bunch of themed rewards related to roller beetle racing. We could have jumping medallions that you earn from jumping puzzles, with harder jumping puzzles giving you more medallions. You could then spend these medallions on stuff like tonics, a new classical explorer armor set, and a series of different fun boot skins. You could also add in some guild hall and homestead decorations of items that you find specifically from jumping puzzles that you can then use to expand your own jumping puzzles in your guild hall or homestead. We could even see weekly rewards, like maybe you could get 5 mystic clovers, 5 mystic coins, and 5 transmutation charges a week if you do enough jumping puzzles every day. And honestly, the idea is limitless. Another small detail is that we could connect this to the Tarian Explorer Society and build up some more lore and story for that organization. But jumping puzzles are one of my favorite things in Guild Wars 2, and I just want to see some more love for them. But now for the number 1 spot, for the future expansion feature that I would love to see added to the game the most, and well, it's solo instance content. This is something that many players have floated around over the years, and is personally something that I want to see. Guild Wars 2 has a lot of instance content, and we have even seen something kind of similar to this before with Dragon Response missions, but adding dungeon-like or convergence-like instances into the game that are specifically designed around a single person playing through them would be fantastic. We could, even have some of these instances visible on the roadmap like how raids are, and this would be a way to expand upon the world of Tyria and also tell some isolated stories or stories directly related to whatever expansion they release in. A feature we see in the Elder Scrolls Online are public dungeons, which are small dungeons you find out in the open world that you phase into and can do, but other players can come into here as well, which makes it a multiplayer experience. And I do like this a lot, and something like this in Guild Wars 2 would be great, but everyone knows what I'm about to say next. Guild Wars 2 can take a lot of inspiration from World of Warcraft with their delves. This is a new feature with the War Within that is exactly what I have been talking about. Single player content that is instanced, and it works pretty well in World of Warcraft, and a lot of people have a lot of fun with it. We can structure this like modern day raids in Guild Wars 2, where you can have a super easy story mode version of each, let's call them delves for simplicity's sake, that you can have a normal mode version that is definitely achievable by your average player, but you will need to learn the game in order to clear through it. Then you can have 2 more increasingly difficult modes that really challenge players and push people to their limit. There's a lot you can do with puzzles, environment design, and boss design that works around the concept of a single person playing through it. I feel like this would become one of the main forms of content that I play in Guild Wars 2, but of course, like anything in any game, many others aren't going to like it or participate in it. As far as some ideas for what specific delves we could see, the possibilities are literally endless. We could see areas like the Divinity's Reach or Lion's Arch sewers, or we could revisit the Twilight Arbor to learn more about what the Nightmare Court had been doing, or we could have a centaur-based delve located here where you climb some snowy mountains and fight a bunch of centaurs, or we could finally visit this island located right here, where we have to, ride in on a massive ship and lay siege to a pirate stronghold. Maybe we could come to an island in the Ring of Fire. We could explore an ancient dwarven ruin located around here. We could explore some Ascalonian ruins located somewhere around here. We could go fight a monster underneath the Jade Sea. Oh wow, some Titan creature went off in this direction, let's go follow it. Once again, the possibilities are truly endless. And that's my list. I hope you enjoyed. To reiterate once again, these are just ideas for features that could potentially be introduced to the game in the future and are ones that I would like to varying degrees. If you have any thoughts, elaborations, or features of your own that you would like to see, please share them down in the comments. I hope you all are taking good care of yourselves. Have a good one, everyone.